Today we're going to talk about the importance of discipline and how it has more value than just motivation. Let's think about the last time you started something new. Maybe it was as simple as a new book or as grand as a new business. Think about that feeling, that initial burst of enthusiasm. Can you recall it? That's motivation for you. Powerful, exhilarating, but often just a spark. Now imagine you're holding a match. That tiny flame could easily flicker and die without something more to keep it burning. This is where discipline comes in. It's like the wood that keeps the fire burning long after the match has done its part. So motivation might get you started, but it's discipline, my friends, that helps you keep going. Let's consider the story of Michael. Many of you might relate to. Michael once told me about his venture into learning a new language. He started with excitement, bought books, downloaded apps, practiced for hours each day, but only for about a week. Soon the thrill waned, as it often does. Michael's story isn't unique, is it? Think about your own Michael story. Started something with gusto, only to see it fizzle out. But here's where it gets interesting. Michael picked up his language books again 6 months later. This time, though, he approached it differently. He set small daily goals, just 15 minutes each day right after dinner. No excuses. What changed? His discipline. Discipline, my friends, isn't just a rigid schedule. It's understanding the deeper why behind what you're doing. It's the commitment to see a task through even when that initial excitement fades. It's choosing to stay on the path because you know it leads somewhere worth going. Even if it's tough, even if you're tired. Here's a thought for you. How often have we let that initial spark of motivation push us to start something new, only to stop when things get tough? Think about that diet plan, that exercise routine, or that course you signed up for. We've all been there, haven't we? So I ask you, what makes the difference between starting and continuing? Between trying and achieving, it is, without a doubt, discipline. Discipline is what helps you stick with a diet plan when you'd rather not look at another salad. It's what gets you to the gym even when it's cold and raining outside. It's what makes you finish that course when you think you don't have a moment to spare. But let's make it clearest. Discipline is not just a personal tyrant. It isn't about being harsh to yourself. It's about guidance, about steering the ship through troubled waters because you know the destination is worth it. A calm voice that says, keep going. You're on the right path. And how do you cultivate this discipline? Start small. Remember, Michael, those 15 minutes he committed to weren't just about studying. They were about building a habit, about setting a time and place, making it as routine as brushing his teeth. And over time, those minutes added up. And the habit was forged. Now think about something you've been wanting to accomplish, but haven't started yet. Ask yourself, what small step can I take today? Maybe it's reading a page of a book, writing a single paragraph, or walking just one block. Can you commit to that small step every day? You see, discipline is not built in a day. It's constructed day by day with each small choice. And it's forgiving. Miss a day, that's okay. What matters is that you get back on track the next. That's the beauty of discipline. It's about consistency, not perfection. Just move forward today. I want you to think about the fires you've started and those that have gone out. Reflect on how discipline, or the lack of it, played a role. And then think about how you can apply a new layer of discipline to reignite those flames. Let us not just be motivated, but disciplined. Let us not just start, but continue. Let us not just dream, but do. Let's turn our sparks of motivation into lasting flames of achievement. And it starts with that single, small, disciplined step forward. Are you ready to take it? Motivation is often likened to a spark. It's that electric jolt of enthusiasm that wakes us up from complacency and propels us toward a new venture or goal. How many of you have ever felt that spark, that sudden burst of energy where you felt like you could achieve anything? I see nods. You know what I'm talking about. That feeling is powerful, isn't it? Let's go a little deeper into the nature of this intriguing phenomenon. Motivation, at its core, is about desire. It's that internal drive you feel when you see something you want, and suddenly you're compelled to pursue it. Think about a child who sees a toy in a store window. The immediate desire that floods in is motivation in its purest form. Have you ever had a project at work or a personal goal that initially seemed exciting? You thought about it day and night, brainstormed ideas, perhaps even sketched out a plan. That's motivation doing what it does best, getting you started. Let me share a story about Sarah, a young graphic designer I met a few years back. Sarah was working in a small, unremarkable job, dreaming of more creative freedom and personal expression. One day, she saw a poster for a design competition. It was as if a light went off. Excited by the challenge and the potential to showcase her skills, Sarah jumped into action. She spent nights and weekends sketching, designing, revising. Her motivation to win that contest and prove her capability. Sarah's story doesn't end with submitting her design. Win or lose wasn't the real prize. It was the journey her spark of motivation kicked off. That contest was just the beginning. It led her to more opportunities because she started believing more in her abilities and her potential. Her motivation gave her a glimpse of what was possible, and she pursued it with heart. But as we all know, motivation can be as fleeting as it is fiery. Who here started a project with great enthusiasm, only to find that enthusiasm waning as days go by? It's common, isn't it? Motivation got you going. But what happens when the initial excitement wears off? Motivation is not just about taking the first step. It's also about striking when the iron is hot. When you're motivated, action is crucial. It's like seeing a spark in a pile of dry leaves. If you don't do something about it quickly, the spark fades and the opportunity is lost. I remember a friend, Tom, who talked for years about wanting to improve his health. He'd get motivated every new year, signing up for gym memberships, buying workout equipment. But without action, his motivation dissipated as quickly as it came. It wasn't until Tom finally started to use that gym membership, right away when he felt motivated, that he saw change. His initial actions turned his sporadic motivation into a steady routine. Motivation, my friends, is a wonderful starter, but a poor finisher. It's here where discipline must take over. But let's not discount the value of that first spark. Without it, there's no starting line, no initial burst to get you moving. How can you harness motivation effectively? Here are a few tips. Act quickly. When you feel motivated, take action immediately. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It never comes. Set visible goals. Keep reminders of your goals where you can see them daily. This visibility helps reignite your initial motivation, reminding you why you started. Celebrate small wins. Each small success can boost your motivation, keeping the momentum going. Now, I'd like you to think of a time when motivation led you to take action. How did you feel? What did you accomplish, even if it was just a small win? Hold on to that feeling, remember it, and use it to fuel your next venture. Remember that motivation is the spark, but your actions are the flame. Together, they can light up a fire that leads to incredible achievements. Let's keep that fire burning, not just today, but every day as we strive, not just for success, but for a fulfilled and purposeful life. Now let's dive into the heart of what makes the difference between those who start and those who finish. While motivation is the spark that sets off the fire, discipline is the structure that keeps the fire burning steadily, long after the initial flame might have died down. Imagine discipline not as a set of shackles, but as the framework within which freedom can flourish. It's not about restricting yourself. It's about aligning your actions with your values consistently, over time. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment, between aspiration and reality. Let's consider the story of Linda, a writer who dreamed of publishing her own novel. She started out with tremendous motivation, writing day and night for the first few weeks. But as the excitement waned, so did her writing pace. She wrote less and less until months had gone by without a single new page. Linda was like many of us, spirited at the start, but lacking the structure to sustain. Now just Linda's story with that of James, another writer who also began his book with great enthusiasm. The difference was that James had a plan. Every morning, whether he felt inspired or not, he would sit down at his desk and write for at least 2 hours. Some days were hard, the words burrowly trickling out, but he stuck with it, disciplined in his efforts. Over time, these consistent, small efforts added up, and James completed his manuscript. He had built the bridge from start to finish with the sturdy beams of discipline. Now think about what discipline really means. It means setting a schedule and sticking to it. It means holding yourself accountable. It means making sacrifices. Yes, discipline can be challenging. It can be rigorous, but it is also incredibly rewarding. Because discipline frees you to achieve your goals. So how can you develop this critical skill? Here are some strategies that can help. Set clear goals. Know exactly what you want to achieve. Write it down, make it tangible. Without a clear goal, discipline is no direction. Instilling routine. Discipline thrives on routine. Establish regular times for your activities related to your goals. Whether it's studying, writing, exercising, or anything else, ask a reminder to your progress and keep track of your progress. No matter how small, can provide a huge boost to your morale and encourage you to keep going. Stay organized. A cluttered life is a barrier to disciplined action. Keep your workspace and your schedule clean and clear. Reward yourself. Discipline doesn't have to be all about deprivation. Reward yourself for meeting small milestones along the way. This can help reinforce the behavior and make it more sustainable. Let's revisit Linda. After a year of struggling, she realized her lack of structure was the roadblock to her success. She decided to implement a disciplined approach, writing 2 pages a day, no matter what. Slowly, she built up a complete draft. It wasn't always easy, but her commitment to her discipline ensured that she reached her goal. In your own lives, how often have you felt like Linda, full of potential, but spinning your wheels? How often have you felt like James, striving with every small step toward a grand vision? The truth is, we all have a bit of Linda and James in us. And with disciplined effort, we can all shift a bit more towards being like James. It starts with recognizing that discipline is not an enemy of enthusiasm, but its partner. Discipline channels your energy into sustainable, productive channels. It turns the chaotic surge of motivation into a steady stream of outcomes. And yes, discipline can be difficult. It asks us to keep going, even when the initial excitement has faded, to work when we feel like resting, to plan when we'd rather be spontaneous. But the rewards of discipline are immense. It gives us control over our actions and ultimately over our lives. Think about a goal you've struggled to achieve. Imagine how applying disciplined habits might change your approach. What if you did one thing every day that brought you closer to that goal? How long would it take to see a change? Remember that while motivation gets you started, discipline keeps you going. It's the disciplined application of effort that turns dreams into realities. Embrace discipline and watch as your aspirations begin to take shape in the real world. It's not just about finishing the race. It's about knowing you ran it the best you could every step of the way. Discipline is not just a trait bestowed upon the few. It's a skill that anyone can develop with the right strategies and understanding. Today, I want to share with you some practical steps to build and strengthen your discipline. These are the foundational pillars that can transform fleeting sparks of motivation into a roaring fire of accomplishment. The first step in building strong discipline is to set clear, actionable routines. Imagine for a moment your daily routine. What does it look like? Is it structured in a way that pushes you towards your goals, or does it leave you scrambling to find time for what truly matters to you? Creating a structured routine is like setting the stage for a play. Every actor knows exactly where to stand, what to say, and when to say it. In the context of your life, these actors are your daily actions. For instance, if your goal is to write a book, your routine might start with waking up an hour earlier each day to write. This isn't just about finding time. It's about making your goals a priority. Now let's talk about, though, what's behind your actions. Understanding why you do something powers your ability to stick with it. This is about connecting your daily tasks to your larger life goals. If you're learning a new language, remind yourself why it's important. Is it to connect with family members in their native tongue? Or maybe to enhance your career opportunities? Keeping this why in clear view will help you maintain your discipline even when the task at hand becomes challenging. It's an incredible example of this. Comes from a young entrepreneur named Emily. Emily started her own business with the dream of providing eco-friendly products to her community. The why was clear to her: helping the environment and reducing waste. Every decision and action in her business was aligned with this purpose, from sourcing materials to marketing her products. Her discipline was fueled by her passion for the environment, making her daily efforts feel meaningful and impactful. Moreover, the importance of habits in cultivating discipline cannot be overstressed. Her habits are the small building blocks of discipline. Each habit you form is a victory over the part of yourself that resists structure and order. Think about the habit of brushing your teeth. It's not something you need to muster up motivation for. You just do it. Now imagine if every beneficial action could become that automatic. This is what happens when you transform constructive actions into habits. To develop new habits, you need to start small. Choose one new habit you want to establish that aligns with your goals. Perhaps it's doing 10 minutes of meditation each morning or writing a daily to-do list every night before bed. Stick with this small habit until it becomes a natural part of your routine, then build on it. Another key aspect is accountability. Hold yourself accountable or find someone who will. Whether it's a coach, a friend, or a family member, make sure you have someone to report your progress to. This external pressure can significantly enhance your discipline. Let me share a brief story about Mark, a friend of mine who wanted to improve his physical health. Mark committed to running every morning and logged his progress on social media. By declaring his goals publicly, he felt a responsibility not just to himself, but also to those who followed his journey. The days he felt like skipping his run, he remembered his accountability partners, and this pushed him to follow through. Additionally, discipline is not just about adhering to the good habits, but also about eliminating the bad ones. Reflect on any habits that may be hindering your progress. Identifying and understanding these habits is the first step toward changing them. For instance, consider the habit of checking your phone first thing in the morning. This can scatter your focus right from the start of your day. By changing this single habit to something more productive, like reading or planning your day, you can significantly increase your daily productivity. Now, let's not forget the role of self-forgiveness. In the process of building discipline, there will be days when you falter, days when you fail to stick to your routine or break a good habit. It's essential to forgive yourself, learn from these experiences, and move forward without guilt. Remember, discipline is a journey, not a destination. Always keep your end goal in sight. Let it be the lighthouse guiding you through the fog of daily distractions and difficulties. When you remember why you started and where you're headed, the how becomes much easier. As you move forward today, think about how you can apply these strategies to your own life. Consider the routines you can establish, the habits you can form, and the bad practices you might need to break. Think about your why and let it guide you towards greater discipline. Remember each step you take in building discipline brings you one step closer to your dreams. As you leave here today, carry with you the knowledge that while building discipline may not be easy, it is always worth it. For in discipline, we find the path to our highest achievements and our deepest satisfaction. Consider a powerful quality that not only shapes our daily actions, but also, ultimately, the arc of our lives. Discipline. Discipline affects every facet of our existence, from our careers and health to our relationships. It's the backbone of both personal and professional success. Let's start with a closer look at the career of a young woman named Maria. Maria began her career in a competitive corporate environment. Like many fresh graduates, she was enthusiastic, ready to make her mark. But she quickly realized that enthusiasm alone wouldn't keep her on top of her projects. She needed structure. By creating a disciplined approach to her work, prioritizing tasks, managing her time efficiently, and setting clear goals, Maria was able to not only meet but exceed her performance targets. Over time, her disciplined approach led to promotions and increased responsibilities. Maria's story is a testament to how discipline in career settings doesn't just improve performance, but can accelerate career advancement. But discipline extends beyond our careers. Consider its impact on health, a topic that resonates with many of us. Take, for example, the story of Tom, a man in his mid-50s with the typical sedentary lifestyle. After a serious health scare, Tom realized he needed to make significant changes in his life. He started with small, disciplined steps, cutting down on processed foods, walking daily, and gradually introducing more intensive physical activities into his routine. These disciplined changes contributed to profound improvements, not just in his physical health, but also in his mental well-being. Tom's example beautifully illustrates that discipline in our health routines can literally be a lifesaver. Moving to the realm of personal relationship. Discipline plays a crucial but often overlooked role. Relationships require effort and dedication. They don't thrive merely on affection. Consider Sarah and Jack, a couple who found their marriage floundering as daily stresses took their toll. Decided to implement a simple, disciplined approach to handling disputes, setting aside time each week to communicate openly, ensuring no distractions during these sessions. This disciplined approach to communication fostered a deeper understanding between them, revitalizing their relationship. Now think about the broader implications of these stories. Each story echoes a common theme. Discipline is transformative. It's about making consistent choices that align with our deepest values and long-term aspirations. But how does one cultivate such a potent trait? Discipline starts with small actions. It's forged in the little decisions we make every day. For instance, choosing to prepare for a presentation a week in advance, opting for a salad instead of fast food, or deciding to listen rather than speak in an argument. These choices might seem minor, but when they become habitual, they form the bedrock of a disciplined life. Now consider your own life. What small disciplined choice can you make today that might transform your tomorrow? Maybe it's getting up an hour earlier to study, turning off your phone at dinner to listen to your family, or scheduling your week to ensure you're prepared for important meetings. Moreover, the impact of discipline is often most visible in the face of adversity. Let's talk about Angela, a small business owner whose store was hit hard during an economic downturn. While many businesses folded, Angela stayed disciplined in her approach, meticulously managing her budget, doubling down on market research to understand what her customers really needed, and adapting her business model accordingly. Her disciplined response to adversity not only saved her business, but allowed it to thrive in subsequent years. In each of these stories, discipline was the defining factor that turned challenges into triumphs and aspirations into realities. And it's important to note that discipline is not about rigidity. It's about creating enough structure to foster true freedom. Freedom to grow, to excel, and to succeed. As we move forward, I invite you to reflect on the role discipline plays in your own life. How can you strengthen your discipline to better meet your challenges and achieve your goals? Discipline is a skill, and like any skill, it can be honed. It requires practice, commitment, and most importantly, a willingness to persist. So let's embrace discipline, not just as a concept, but as a daily practice. Let it be the foundation on which we build a life of achievement and satisfaction. Let it guide us through the complexities of our careers, enhance our health, and deepen our relationships. Remember, the journey to a disciplined life is ongoing. Each day presents new opportunities to strengthen our resolve and refine our approach. With each disciplined step we take, we move closer to the life we aspire to live. So let's continue on this path together, supporting one another in our shared pursuit of excellence. Through discipline, let's transform our hopes into habits and our dreams into deeds. As we explore the tandem forces of motivation and discipline, it's essential to understand how these elements intertwine and complement each other in our journey towards personal growth and success. Let's picture motivation and discipline not as separate paths, but as dance partners gracefully moving in sync, each step choreographed to move us closer to our aspirations. Motivation, as we discussed, is that initial spark, the surge of excitement when we set a new goal. It's what gets you up in the morning with a fire in your belly, ready to conquer the day. But as every experienced achiever knows, motivation can wax and wane with the circumstances of our lives. It is here that discipline steps in to sustain the momentum, ensuring that actions continue even when motivation might falter. Consider the story of Emma, a talented pianist. Her motivation led her to start playing piano at a young age, driven by a deep passion for music and an eager desire to express herself through melodies. However, it was discipline that sat her down at the piano day after day to practice scales and arpeggios, even when she would rather do something else. Over time, this discipline helped her to hone her skills and prepare for national competitions, which she eventually won. Emma's journey was not fueled by motivation alone, but by her disciplined commitment to her craft, even on days when the music didn't flow as freely. Now think about your own lives. Reflect for a moment on a goal you've achieved or are working towards. Perhaps it's completing your education, advancing in your career, or maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Was it motivation alone that helped you to reach where you are? Or was it the discipline to keep pushing forward, even on the tough days? The beauty of motivation and discipline is that they feed into each other. Motivation gets you started, discipline keeps you going, and each successful step you take can rekindle your motivation, creating a positive feedback loop. This cycle propels you towards continuous improvement and helps maintain a balanced approach to achieving your goals. It's also important to recognize that motivation can come from various sources. Internal desires, such as personal satisfaction, or external factors like recognition or rewards. Discipline, however, is deeply personal. It's a commitment you make with yourself, a promise to stay on track towards your long-term vision. To take, for instance, the story of Alex, a young entrepreneur. His motivation to start his own tech company was driven by the desire to innovate and create solutions that make people's lives easier. But along the rocky road of entrepreneurship, Alex faced numerous setbacks that dampened his initial enthusiasm. It was his discipline in strategic planning, resource management, and persevering against odds that kept his company afloat and thriving. So how can we ensure that motivation and discipline work effectively together in our lives? First, by setting clear, achievable goals that excite us. Goals that stir our passions and ignite our motivations. And second, by establishing robust systems and routines that ensure we remain disciplined, even when our initial excitement begins to diminish. Moreover, understand why you're doing what you're doing. Reconnect with the reasons behind your goals. When you remind yourself of the why, it's easier to keep going even when the going gets tough. This understanding deepens your discipline, as it roots it in a foundation that is meaningful and personal to you. Additionally, it's crucial to celebrate small victories. Along the way, these celebrations reinvigorate your motivation, making the process enjoyable and rewarding. They remind you that discipline doesn't have to be dreary. It can be joyful and incredibly fulfilling. I urge you all to reflect on how you can further integrate motivation and discipline into your life. Think about the goals that excite you, the dreams that stir your soul. How can you fuel your motivation each day? And how can you strengthen your discipline to ensure that you continue to move forward, even when obstacles arise? Remember, the dance between motivation and discipline is ongoing. And sometimes it's swift and exhilarating. Other times it's slow and steady, but it's always moving you forward. Keep dancing, keep dreaming, and keep doing. With both motivation and discipline by your side, there is truly no limit to what you can achieve. Let's carry this energy of motivation and discipline forward, not just in pursuit of our individual goals, but as a shared rhythm that enhances our collective journey towards growth and success. Together, let's transform the energy of motivation into the enduring power of discipline. Let's reflect on the powerful interplay between motivation and discipline, the twin pillars that support our journey toward personal growth and success. Understanding and mastering this dynamic duo is essential for anyone looking to turn their dreams into reality. Motivation is our starting point. It's the spark that ignites passion and excitement. It's what gets you out of bed in the morning, filled with anticipation for what you can achieve. It's the powerful force that pushes you to sign up for a marathon, start a new business, or embark on a weight loss journey. It's all about the why, the reasons that make your goals worth striving for. But while motivation is the spark, discipline is the fuel that keeps the fire burning long after the initial excitement has faded. Discipline is your day-to-day commitment to your goals. What keeps you lacing up your running shoes when the weather is grim. It's what sits you down at your desk to work on your business plan after a long day at your regular job. Discipline ensures that you stay the course when motivation wanes. We've seen through various stories today, from Maria's career advancement to Tom's health transformation, and Alex's entrepreneurial persistence, how discipline makes a significant impact. It is the structure and routine that convert fleeting sparks of inspiration into lasting change and achievements. Now let us consider how we can cultivate a life that harmonizes motivation and discipline. How do we ensure that our daily actions are not just reactions to the world around us, but are steps towards making our visions a reality? The answer lies in creating systems that make it easier to live out our disciplines. It involves setting up the right environment, associating with the right crowd, preparing ourselves mentally each day to face the tasks at hand, and not just any tasks, but those that lead us directly toward our big goals. You reflect on your own life for a moment. Consider your aspirations and the disciplines you are cultivating to achieve them. Are your daily habits aligned with your long-term goals? Are you consistently doing the things that propel you toward your dreams? Or are you caught in the rush of day-to-day urgencies that steer you off course? These are important questions because they remind us that discipline is not innate. It is built through consistent practice, through small decisions that we make every day. I challenge each of you today to take a moment to think about one area in your life where increased discipline could bring significant change. Maybe it's dedicating more time to your family. Perhaps it's taking control of your financial future, or it could be committing to your personal health and well-being. Whatever it is, identify it. Then, take a small step today that will lead you closer to that goal. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And as you take that step, remember why you're doing it. Connect deeply with your reasons, as these will fuel both your motivation and your discipline. When the path becomes difficult, and it will remind yourself why you started. It's this connection to your deeper why is what will keep you moving forward, even on the toughest days. Story as we conclude. I want you to remember that cultivating a disciplined life is not about restricting yourself. It's about freeing yourself. It's about living intentionally, choosing actions that align with your deepest values and dreams. It's about not letting the day simply pass by, but about filling them with purpose and direction. Let's not leave this room and forget what we've discussed. Let's use it as a catalyst for change. Let's set those goals. Let's reinforce our disciplines. And let's energize our motivations. And most importantly, let's support each other in this journey. Share your goals with someone you trust, hold each other accountable, and celebrate your successes together. As we near the end of our time together today, I'd like to invite you to participate in some reflective questions and share your insights with the group. Let's take a moment to look inward and consider our own experiences with motivation and discipline. First, think back to a time when you felt deeply motivated to pursue a goal or dream. What was it that sparked that motivation within you? Was it a personal passion, a desire for recognition, or perhaps a sense of duty? Take a moment to reflect on the emotions and circumstances surrounding that moment. Now consider how discipline played a role in sustaining that motivation over time. You recall specific habits or routines you developed to support your progress towards your goal. How did you stay focused and committed even when faced with challenges or setbacks? Think about the strategies that work for you and how you can apply them to your current aspirations. Next, let's turn our attention to the present. What are some goals or dreams you're currently working towards? Take a moment to identify one area of your life where you'd like to cultivate more discipline. It could be related to your career, health, relationships, or personal development. What steps can you take today to reinforce your commitment to that goal? As you reflect on these questions, remember that the journey of personal growth is not linear. There will be ups and downs, twists and turns along the way. But it's through these challenges that we grow stronger, more resilient, and more capable of achieving our dreams. I'll leave you with a quote that has resonated deeply with me on my own journey. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. These words, attributed to Winston Churchill, remind us that our success is not defined by our achievements alone, but by our ability to persevere in the face of adversity. So as you go forth from here today, I encourage you to embrace both motivation and discipline as your allies on the path to personal excellence. Cultivate that inner fire that propels you forward and harness the power of discipline to keep that flame burning bright, even on the darkest of days. Thank you for your participation and engagement today. I wish you all the best on your journey towards success and fulfillment. Remember, you have the power to create the life you desire, one disciplined step at a time. Let's continue to inspire and support each other as we strive for greatness.